What I'd like to do now is hand it off to our director from Thunder Bay, Todd. So Todd, we'll let you go.
Great, thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Before we begin, my name is Todd Domney, and I sit on the MineConnect Board of Directors, representing our members here in the Thunder Bay area. In spite of all the unforeseen events over the past 10 months, the organization continues to drive its new mandate forward. We have finalized our transition to a truly pan-Northern organization, including a full rebrand. We've also completed our board recruitment process, which has resulted in having directors in all 5 major Northern communities for the first time in our history. We've created a lead generation program backed by a global marketing campaign designed to drive traffic to our newly designed website. The intent is to get the eyes of both regional and global mining companies on the tremendous innovations that are pouring out of our Northern Ontario cluster. We've also created a successful international trade program and have hosted some of the largest international mining companies, providing them with a first-hand opportunity to get to know Northern Ontario and our member companies. MineConnect has delivered on a number of outgoing missions, opening the door to mine sites in the US and South America, providing our members with new export opportunities. Our newest lead generation tactic will be opening our new office in Elko, Nevada, in partnership with the Nevada Governor's Office and supported by the Northern Ontario Export Program. As an association, we continue to support our members with these types of information sessions that are designed to deliver value and push the primary mandate of assisting our member companies to grow their business. This is your association. We urge you to provide your input as to what other types of webinar activities you would like to see from us in the future. Today's session is being hosted by MineConnect in partnership with the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce, and we'll have Charla Robinson at the end of the day give some closing remarks. It is designed to ensure our members understand what new projects will be coming up in the future as to better position themselves to leverage these business opportunities. Today's presentation will discuss emerging opportunities in Northwestern Ontario and will be led by Robert Cundari, resident geologist for the Thunder Bay area. We'd like to thank the Ontario Geological Survey for all their effort in making this presentation possible, as we most definitely appreciate their continued support. Please keep in mind that the intent of the presentation today is to provide a general overview and status update on advanced exploration projects within our jurisdiction. It is not designed to provide in-depth details, and we suggest those inquiries be directed to the mining operations themselves. We'll be happy to provide you with contact details if we have them available. Without further ado, I'd like to hand the presentation over to Robert.
All right, thanks very much for the introduction. I'm going to share my screen here and get things started. All right. Should be, can I get a confirmation of the screen? You can see my title slide?
Yes, we can.
Good, Rob.
All right, well, first off, I'd like to start by thanking Paul and Todd for the introductions and for inviting us here today. I'll give a bit of an introduction as to who I am and what the resident geologist program is and what type of services we can provide. But I'd also like to say that this is a really great opportunity for us. We oftentimes are predominantly dealing with the mineral exploration and the mining community directly. So to have an opportunity to speak to the service and supply side of the industry is really exciting for us. It represents a relatively new clientele for us, and it's exciting to be able to share the information that we compile and keep track of on a regular basis to this side of the industry. So thanks very much to MineConnect for having us, and thanks again to Paul for organizing this. So we'll be highlighting some of the advanced mineral projects throughout Northwestern Ontario. My name is Rob Cundari. I'm the Northwest Regional Manager for the Resident Geologist Program. Recently just stepped into this management position, and I'd also like to acknowledge John Mason, who's an alumni of our program and one of my predecessors in most of the positions I've held throughout my tenure in the Resident Geologist Program. So I'm sure those that were present for the Northeast presentation saw some of the entry slides here, but I just want to highlight who we are. We're the Resident Geologist Program. We're thought of as the regional public-facing arm of the Ontario Geological Survey. We have geographically dispersed offices throughout the province. Here in Thunder Bay, we have a regional office that serves both the Thunder Bay North and Thunder Bay South districts, as well as a couple of regional support positions. But in the Northwest, we also have offices in the both Red Lake and Kenora. Our main mandate, well, part of our main mandate is to monitor all ongoing mineral exploration and mining activity, as well as support those initiatives through good geoscience, through data collection, data dissemination, as well as through a number of different products and services that we provide. Now, and I'll give a bit of a snapshot of what those products are, mainly as they pertain to your industry and some of the things that you might find useful going forward. So out of the regional office here, we have the regional manager position, which is myself. We also have a land use geologist program, which provides support to municipalities and First Nation communities in their land use efforts. We have a couple of different Aboriginal geoscience outreach positions, as well as our mineral development branch, which covers the regulatory side of the mineral exploration and mining industry. So this is a good map showing Northwestern Ontario as we define it, as well as the resident geologist districts. You can see there are a couple of resident geologist districts. Well, there's 4 of them that comprise Northwestern Ontario. We have Thunder Bay North covering the Geraldton area, Pickle Lake area, as well as points north, including the Ring of Fire. Thunder Bay South spans from essentially Atikokan to White River. Kenora covers Kenora, Dryden, Fort Francis area, coming in all the way over to the Thunder Bay North and Thunder Bay South boundaries. And then the Red Lake district covers the majority of the Red Lake Greenstone Belt, as well as points north towards Sachiko. Highlighted here are some of the projects that we'll be talking about today. Again, just bringing to light some of the more advanced projects that are ongoing in the district. Those that are kind of moving towards the development stage. At the end, I'll also highlight a couple of key sort of exploration projects based on some recent success that's been released. Just kind of things that we might want to keep track of, keep an eye on, as they, if they do continue with the rate of success that they're on, they might be moving into the development stage going forward. So this map, we're going to obviously disseminate this presentation. So this map is a good resource in terms of where these projects are and their who the proponents are and what the commodities are as well. So we'll start off in Red Lake. We have the Madsen Gold Project, which is run by Pure Gold Mining. This is actually Ontario's newest producing gold miner. This is located in the Red Lake camp, southwest of the town of Red Lake. It is a historical producer, but has moved into development and production over the last couple of years. They've just completed their first gold pour back in December, right on schedule, and they've calculated the reserves based on a $1,275 gold price. So with the current climate and commodity prices as they are right now, they're at a healthy stage. In terms of reserves and resources, I'll just briefly outline for most of these projects reserves and resources, just to get a sense of scale for a lot of these projects. In the probable category, so that's a probable reserve category, they're at about 1 million ounces. So a good healthy reserve base for this project going forward. And again, we're really excited to see that they were on track and had their first gold pour just back in December. Looking at the Bateman Gold Project, this is held by Battle North Gold Corp. This is the former Phoenix Gold Project held by Rubicon. They've gone through a rebranding and a renaming of their property and their company. This is in the Red Lake camp. It's host to the high-grade F2 deposit. Those familiar with the project back a few years, there was a lot of development. There's a ready-to-go 1,250 ton per day mill facility that's currently just on care and maintenance. They've commissioned a shaft that goes down to about the 730 meter level with about in excess of 1,000 meters of underground development. So it's essentially a ready to go mine. The work that's been done most recently is to essentially go back to the geology and prove up the deposit. And they've released a new feasibility study just back in the fall, in October of 2020, that estimates an 8.2 year life of mine with a 50% after-tax initial rate of return. In terms of reserves, they're dealing with just over 600,000 ounces in the proven and probable categories, with again another 600,000 ounces in the resource categories. Cutoff grade here, so we're dealing with kind of a moderate grade, 3.41 cutoff grade, and the head grade is hovering around 5.5, 5.7. So moderate grades in terms of what we see generally out of the Red Lake camp, but the more they're exploring, the more they're proving out the deposit, gaining some confidence in the geology and the controls and mineralization, and also pushing this into development. Having a ready to go mill is certainly helps the economic side of things on this. Moving to Geraldton, this is the Hard Rock project. This is one that's been kind of pushing close to development for a couple of years now, and there's been some really positive news just over the past month that is really going to bring this, I think, over the finish line. This historically was explored for by Premier Gold. They then brought in a joint venture partner in Centerra a few years back to form Greenstone Gold Mines Limited Partnership. They've now since moved, Centerra has since sold their 50% portion to Orion Mine Finance. This is relatively recent news. The day after, it was released that Equinox Gold has acquired Premier's 50% interest. There's a few spin-off companies that are happening that are going to come out of the Premier deal, but basically Equinox Gold is going to acquire 50% of Premier's interest in the Hard Rock project and the Greenstone Gold Mines Limited Partnership. So they've completed Greenstone has completed all of their federal and provincial EAs. They're submitted all permits, including their closure plan. They have excellent relationships and agreements with the local First Nations. They're continuing to do some exploration, both in pit and regional, to optimize their pit design and prove up some of the shakier parts of the resource. But all told, everything is ready to go. This is essentially a press go, ready to go mine, and the new partners that have taken over Greenstone are slating construction, intending for construction to start later on in 2021. There is a lot of gold in the ground here. This is going to be a flagship mine for these companies, and it's going to be a low-grade open pit operation, but there is a lot of potential for higher grade underground operations later on in the mine life. Moving away from gold for a second, looking at the Marathon Palladium project held by Generation Mining Limited. This is dominantly a PGE, so platinum group element copper deposit. This is located just 10 kilometers north of the town of Marathon. Recently taken over from Stillwater Mining by Generation. Generation has completed a PEA, so preliminary economic assessment, in January 2020, so about a year old, estimating a 14-year mine life, producing just under 200,000 palladium ounces of palladium equivalent. So that's all metals combined to the value of palladium. They're currently undergoing a feasibility study, and they're ultimately targeting production in 2023. Again, this is going to be a high tonnage, sort of relatively low grade operation. In the measured and indicated categories, there's upwards of 180 million tons in the ground at just under about a gram per ton combined platinum and palladium, and some a nice copper credit at 0.2% copper. So definitely one to watch. There's a joint panel, review panel appointed for their environmental assessment. So development activities here are moving forward, and I think should we see the sustained and consistent palladium prices, PG prices going forward, this is definitely a project to watch. Goliath Gold Project. This is held by Treasury Metals, and it's 20 kilometers east of Dryden, right around the Thunder Lake area. They released an updated mineral resource estimate just recently, which included a lot of their more recent drill results from 2016 to 2018. The really exciting thing that I think is going to kind of open this the development of this project up is that they've joined forces with the the Goldland project, and are putting together a preliminary economic assessment for both projects combined. Ultimately, as it's inferred with a joint mill facility. So we're expecting to see that PEA in shortly, sometime in Q1. And they are ultimately going through with mine permitting, and as well as further resource delineation. So again, another one to watch. This is one that's kind of been on the fringe of pushing past that threshold into development. But I think joining up with nearby Goliath with a central mill facility might be just the thing it needs. So again, we'll move into a different commodity and getting into the lithium space. This is a project that's long been explored in the Georgia Lake area. It's held by RockTech Lithium, and this is just in between Beardmore and Nipigon, just on sort of the north end, or south, so I should say southeast side of Lake Nipigon. And it's a pegmatite. It's a lithium-bearing pegmatite deposit. They've completed positive preliminary economic assessment, which included an after-tax net present value of $210 million, as well as an after-tax initial rate of return of 48%. The exciting thing again, and this is kind of a trend we're seeing, is that we're seeing a lot of these deposits and projects trying to join forces, if you will. And they've recently announced a letter of intent to construct a lithium sulfate processing facility in Thunder Bay with Avalon. And I'll outline Avalon's project in just a second. But really, I think that in terms of the lithium market, and John Mason's been a very big proponent and a big part of this this joint facility, and I think it's a really exciting thing, and I think it's really the thing that that is going to get a lot of these hard rock lithium deposits off the ground into production and producing lithium sulfate for obviously the upcoming and predicted boom for battery metals, and to support the new green economy. So they're jointly kind of linked now with this Separation Rapids project, and this is a really healthy lithium deposit located just near Kenora, Ontario. And so this is a few years old now, but they've released a positive PEA, including a pretty healthy resource estimate of just under, 8.4 million tons at a good grade of 1.4% lithium oxide. Lithium grades in general, a good sort of healthy grade is around a 1%. So anything over sort of 1.2% lithium oxide is getting into and verging into sort of higher grade lithium. Avalon does plan to sell about 15,000 tons per year of lepidolite concentrate to Lepidico. So they've lined up back end purchasing of their product, and they're continuing to research consumer use for lithium pedalite type pegmatite. So they're considering not only the battery metals industry, but also looking at glass, ceramics type applications as well. So looking at basically how they're going to essentially use all of the material, not just the lithium or minerals. And again, this is going to be part of the joint lithium processing facility that hopefully gets off the ground with the Georgia Lake project and RockTech Lithium. So moving up into the Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire is still active right now. Actually, as you can see from the claim map there, we're at a level of claims that is not quite where we were at the initial staking rush back in the late 2000s, but we're getting close. There's been a influx of interest in the region, and I think that a lot of that comes off the heels of some of the positive news that's come out of some of the infrastructure that's happening. Those that might be aware, there are community-led environmental assessments initiated for north-south roads. Phase 1 coming from Nakina into Martin Falls. Phase 2 will be from Martin Falls into the Ring of Fire. And there's also a Webequie supply road that's in the same stage as the Phase 1 road, coming from Webequie over into the Ring of Fire. So things are looking positive on the infrastructure side. There's a lot of support from various levels of government, and things are moving along properly and moving along slowly but properly. In terms of development activities within, Noront is still active on the exploration front. They've done a good amount of drilling, delineating a VMS deposit just adjacent to the main chromite mine trend. But they also hold the Eagle's Nest nickel copper PGE deposit, which is their flagship project and is going to be the one that they aim to bring into development prior to any chromite development. They do hold the majority of chromite assets after the acquisition of Cliffs assets. That is the Black Thor, Big Daddy, and Blackbird being the big 3 chromite deposits there. They do have a positive feasibility study on Eagle's Nest. That is a bit out of date, dating back to 2012. So they have recently announced that they're updating that feasibility study to without a road component. Seeing that there is positive news and developments on the road front, that they feel that that's something they can hang their hat on, and they can analyze the economics of the project, not having to build the road themselves. They've also initiated a PEA on Blackbird. Blackbird is one of the main chromite deposits. It's directly adjacent to the Eagle's Nest, so it's in terms of proximity, they can use a lot of the same infrastructure. Mine infrastructure. So once Eagle's Nest comes online, Blackbird will be likely the next deposit to come into production in the Ring of Fire. So they've initiated a preliminary economic assessment on Blackbird, which we should see sometime this year as well. Also in terms of the development front, big news over the past, well, I guess year and a half has been the location selection for the ferrochrome processing facility. And there's been some excellent news on that front, being with Sault Ste. Marie chosen as the site with support from Algoma Steel. And I should also say, just on a geological note, that the Eagle's Nest deposit is as nickel copper PGE deposits go, it's a fantastic deposit. It's quite high grade, and geologically and morphology, it's quite amenable to long hole stoping and some more, even potentially some underground bulk mining techniques, which is really great. Moving again, kind of bouncing around in terms of commodities, but moving up to back into the lithium space. This is the PAC project. So PAC project with Frontier Lithium. This is a remote project. It's located 170 kilometers north of Red Lake. But it's one of the bigger, if not the biggest, lithium pegmatite projects in the Northwest. There's been some really great recent exploration success with the discoveries of the Spark and the Bolt pegmatite, and some of the mineral resource estimates show just exactly how big and how high grade some of these deposits are. The resource estimate at PAC is just over 10 million tons, but the grade is quite healthy at in between 1.7 and 2.3% lithium oxide. The Spark, which is a relatively new pegmatite discovery, actually the recipient of the NOAPA Discovery of the Year award last year, has a really healthy initial resource of 12 million tons in the inferred category at 1.36% lithium oxide. So really healthy, high grade lithium deposit. Remote, yes, but should we see that even that potential processing facility at Thunder Bay again might favor this project moving into the development stage. There's been a lot of really positive news coming out of the Thunder Bay North project. This is Clean Air Metals. This is a relatively new endeavor. They've done a really nice job consolidating the ground in this area. Land tenure in there has been held by a number of different proponents over the past years, and really consolidation of the land package was a necessary thing in order to properly explore this project. I apologize that this image came in a little bit blurry, but these are these types of nickel copper PGE deposits are basically thought of as relatively sort of narrow tubes. So they're amenable to underground ramping methods, and but they do contain beautiful grades of PGEs. And so they've just now released, they've had some excellent exploration success over the past few months and just released a new updated resource just this month, looking at an indicated resource of around just over 16 million tons at 3.5 grams per ton palladium equivalent for a contained metal value of 1.8 million ounces of palladium equivalent. So, and then there's also just about 10 million tons in the inferred category as well. So this is a resource that's combined between the current lake and escape lake deposits, as you can see from the diagram. They're working on a PEA that's scheduled for Q2 of 2021. And again, this is going to be this PEA is going to be focused on the current lake deposit, which is the more robust of the two and the more advanced of the two. And again, looking at it from an underground perspective. Like I said, they've had some really, really great exploration success, and they've had absolutely no trouble raising money based on that success. And so they're currently drilling off both portions of, well, mainly the escape lake deposit with a 30,000 meter drill program underway currently. Moving to just north of Lake Nipigon, this is the BAM gold deposit held by Landor Resources. This is part of Landor's junior lake property, which has historically seen a lot of exploration for a number of different commodities. There are a few lower grade nickel copper PGE deposits on the property. There's been iron exploration, there's been lithium exploration, but they've had a lot of really good success in gold exploration lately, and that resulted in the discovery of the BAM deposit. This is a nice little deposit. It's near surface. It's around 20 million tons at about a gram in the indicated category, and about 10 million tons at about a gram in the inferred category. They are currently drilling this off to try and expand the deposit to the east, and also improve the confidence in a lot of these resource categories. A nice deposit. They've done a PEA with a base case life of mine of 6.25 years. They've also evaluated an extended case of 9.75 years. All in sustaining costs running around 800 bucks an ounce for each of the different scenarios. They've done some math, and they figure initial capex of just under about 100 million will get them up and running. So one to watch. It's going to be a relatively simple project to get into production, just being that it is relatively easily accessible, and a nice little deposit in a near surface environment. So again, just another one to watch for. Some good news coming out of First Mining Gold too, most recently with the Springpole property. This is located 110 kilometers northeast of Red Lake. They've just released a positive pre-feasibility study, which is going to forecasts an annual gold production of 335,000 ounces a year, with the mill running at a 30,000 ton per day cycle, and for a life of mine of 11.3 years. They're working on their provincial and federal EAs, and they've actually just hired the fella that got the Hard Rock EA through both provincial and federal approvals. So this is a bulk tonnage, high grade or low grade, open pit proposal with about 120 million tons at just around a gram gold, and nice even silver credits at 5 grams per ton as well. So another one to watch as it kind of moves through their provincial and federal environmental assessments. Iron. This is the really sole active iron play in Northwestern Ontario with any sort of advanced at any advanced stage, and this is the Ambershaw Metallics Bending Lake deposit. This is located 38 kilometers southwest of Ignace. They've They've acquired the deposit and they're resuming the evaluation of iron potential at the Bending Lake deposit. They've applied for some bulk tonnage permits with the intent of creating a concentrate sample with some proprietary techniques, as I understand it. This is they're looking at the EA process for this, but again, this is a really healthy deposit, somewhere in the with about 185 million tons at just under 30% magnetite in the indicated category and 150 million tons at 30% magnetite in the inferred category. So no shortage of material here. Again, they're just initiating the project description as part of the environmental assessment process. So again, one to watch, and certainly the front runner in terms of iron plays in the Northwest. So that's things in sort of the development space. I just in a couple of slides, I want to highlight some of the hot exploration properties throughout the Northwest. Just in terms of trends, we've seen in the Northwest and even throughout the province quite a significant increase in claim acquisitions. And this map shows this well. You can see that in the darker colors, those are active mining claims that were present as of November 2nd, 2020. And the new mining claims are highlighted in light green, and those are new mining claims that have been acquired over the past calendar year come November. So November to November, green is the lighter green are highlighting new mining claims, and you can see it's an appreciable amount of acquisitions that we're seeing, and a lot of this is driven by the healthy upswing of commodity prices, and it's been really great to see in the last year that we've seen exploration follow on the heels, an increase in exploration follow on the heels of a lot of these acquisitions. So gold is still the flavor generally in Northwestern Ontario, but we're also seeing, like we've seen from the project roll up here, that we're seeing a lot of activity in the battery minerals space, but also for PGEs and nickel. So this is just kind of a snapshot, bit of a metric to show that we really are seeing a healthy exploration industry in Northwestern Ontario. Money is certainly loosening up a bit over the past couple of years, and so we're seeing companies that are having exploration success being able to raise money, and that money is going back into the ground. So we've been seeing a lot of really great success in Red Lake and Pickle Lake, and even in the Ring of Fire, we've seen a lot of acquisitions. So it's exciting to see. I think it's a testament to the industry, being the exploration industry, kind of in a bit of an upswing, and I think that I really hope that that's going to continue and be sustained and be able to manifest into more advanced projects and ultimately more mines. So a couple of key projects I want to highlight, and I'll kind of go through these relatively briefly. Ardiden at Pickle Lake, they've done a really great job consolidating some really key areas in the Pickle Lake belt. They're drilling off and expanding the resource at Casagaminas, but have had some really good acquisitions in the South Limb, which is adjacent to the Domney Lake property, West Pickle Lake property, and most recently they have a joint venture with Exiro Minerals for what's called the New Patricia property, and they've outlined a beautiful structure. Not to get too far into the geology, but they have some really exciting geophysical anomalies on the New Patricia property. So I think we'll see some continued success and numbers come out of Casagaminas, but also some continued success out of the greater Pickle Lake project from Ardiden. Metals Creek also has a joint venture partnership with Newmont, where Metals Creek is operating acting as the operator, drilling at the past producing Domney Lake mine. This is a past producing mine which was produced gold from an iron formation, a host ore, and produced about just under 250,000 ounces of gold. It's actually the mill from Domney Lake was actually the mill that Pure Gold is now recommissioned at Madsen and Red Lake. And so there was a healthy grade. They were mining at 7.44 ounces, but it just didn't have the legs to keep going, and when it shut down in 94. So Metals Creek has taken a new approach. They've done some good geophysics and are currently drilling and exploring and having some pretty decent success there. The real hot project in the whole province is Great Bear Resources at Dixie Lake. This is located 20 kilometers south of Red Lake, and it's gold, really high-grade gold mineralization associated with what's called the LP fault. They're completing some metallurgical tests. Their stock has been just skyrocketing over the past 18 months, and they've completed 100,000 meters of drilling to date. Great success explorationally, and it was really this project that spurred a staking rush, a modern-day staking rush in the Red Lake Belt. The discovery was made in rocks that were thought to be pretty well dry historically, and so it's opened up an entirely different perspective on where the gold is in Red Lake, and they've had really great success at Dixie. Looking at the Sunday Lake project, this is a joint venture between Impala Canada and Transition Metals. This is just north of Thunder Bay, 25 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. Really great success in terms of PGE mineralization, relatively deep intervals, but really great potential for a high tonnage, high grade underground resource. And so we hope to see some more work coming out of this and more drilling coming out of this in the near future, but again, one to watch from the exploration side. Another recent acquisition, well, relatively recent acquisition, was Oteco at Pickle Crow. This is, they're exploring adjacent to the past producing Pickle Crow mine, which was a high grade mine producing about 1.5 million ounces at a very healthy grade of 16 grams per ton gold. They initiated a 10,000 meter drill program, but based on success, they immediately increased that to 45,000 meters. There is a excellent infrastructure here. There's a 225 ton per day gravity mill that's about 95% complete, sitting on the property. And so should Oteco see their continued exploration success, this is certainly one to watch, as they could potentially move into development related activities in the short term. So that's it for projects. Went a little bit over time, so I apologize for that. But I just very quickly want to highlight, and I know the Zainab from the Northeast highlighted some of these, but these are some of the products and services that might be relevant to your activities. So month-end reports, we provide quick snapshots of all exploration, development, and mining activity in Northwestern Ontario. We publish these monthly, and they're available through Google Earth KML downloads. You can easily download them from the link. They very easily drag into Google Earth, and it provides a really great snapshot with a quick summary of the activity and links to relevant press releases. We also publish annual reports, which are more detailed accounts on all exploration, development, and mining activity in the province. These are done by district and are released every April for the previous year. So we have these going back decades, which are great resources for past activity, but also really good points of reference for current activity as well. So just a couple of things to should you be looking for just an idea of what's happening in the province. These are things, resources that could help you along. We're also available. You can contact myself for the Northwest, and I can even, if you're interested in anything for the Northeast, I can make sure that we get you in touch with the right people. This is the kind of thing we love to do. We love giving our activity updates and reaching out to clients, both old and new. And so, yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. And should anyone have any questions, we can open up the floor. But also, my contact's available should you want to follow up in the future. So, thanks.
And Robert, just to give you a bit of a breather before we field any questions, but I think these events are all about positioning our companies to take advantage of these opportunities. So that was an excellent, comprehensive account of what's in the pipeline. I think we can all take a collective breath of relief to know that we have a lot of projects in the pipeline. I think for Ontario, we've always been at that kind of 30-40 operating mines. So as we lose some to end of life, it's refreshing to know that we have something that's sitting there ready to get into production, and I'm sure our members are thankful for that. So once again, that was very comprehensive. We appreciate it. Just so everybody's aware, we will be sharing a copy of the presentation with everybody that did register today, so that you could at least review it at your leisure, get a better sense on how to position yourselves moving forward. So I can open it up for questions here if there are any. So I just ask you to unmute, because I have muted everybody, and see if Robert can't answer a few questions before we close this out. Well, I guess it speaks for itself, Robert. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to hand the virtual floor over to Charla for a closeout from the chamber. Charla?
Thanks, Paul, and thanks everybody for being here to hear about this. I'm Charla Robinson, the president of the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce, and I do want to acknowledge that Thunder Bay does reside in the Robinson Superior Treaty and is built on the traditional lands of the Ojibwa people of the Fort William First Nation. And we also recognize the contribution of our Métis citizens, so wanted to make sure we recognize that today. I want to again thank Rob and the team at OGS. It's a little mind-blowing to think of all the projects that you guys are keeping an eye on, and all of the moving parts, and to present it in such a helpful and understandable way to those of us who maybe aren't that into the geological terms. So thank you so much for making it understandable and making it exciting for those of us that aren't rock geeks, I think might be the word that John Mason would use. I can't recall what he calls himself. And I wanted to thank Todd and Paul and the team at MineConnect. We've been in discussions for a number of months about how we can work closely together, and this is hopefully the first of many collaborative events that we'll be having with them to help to make folks aware of what's happening and where there are some potential supplier opportunities. And we certainly recognize that there's huge economic opportunities across the Northwest from so many of these projects. And then I also wanted to just thank each of the participants for being here today. I know it's the end of a day, and many of you may have been on many Zoom calls today and might be feeling a little fatigued. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And we look forward to seeing you at a future MineConnect chamber opportunity, and stay warm and stay safe and have a great evening. Good night, everyone.
Well, Robert, tremendous turnout. We had our highest number yet. We had 69 people take part, so congratulations. And just to echo what Charla said, it was very comprehensive and gave us a great understanding. I'm sure John Mason, for some reason, he always gets into the conversation, but it's because what he's done in the past, and he's certainly a walking encyclopedia of this. So once again, on behalf of all our members, thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity. Much thanks.